Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Hollywood on the Rocks on a Wednesday. We're a little early today. We're early. We're not late. Those of you in the chat saying we're late, we're not late. We're a little early, and I could use some help on the volume. Today on the show, I'm hoping we're talking about the Marvels for perhaps the very last time. In addition, we have a special interview today with Russall Beattie. Russall Beattie is the creator of Gotham, 1919 to 1939. It is an incredible vision of Batman that you must see. We're going to talk with the creator today, and we'll be doing a very special giveaway just for you. He's joining us from Australia. And, of course, your questions, comments, concerns, chat remarks. So much to talk about. Alan is here waiting in the wings. Let's get things kicked off. Let's get things started. We're early today because there's no Nerdrotic Nooner, and Alan and I have screenings of movies to go to. It's the busy season. Let's go Hollywood on the Rocks. I don't know what the heck. Alan, do you love Refrigerator?
I love Refrigerator.
You know what I love actually about Alan? I've never loved a man more than I love Alan right now.
You and 100 other men.
Alan! 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 Al! Alan!
Alan, what are you doing, man?
Here. Is that the background you want?
No, it's not. There's so many pictures now, and there's ones we're not using that it takes me a while to scroll. Let's just go generic.
Well, there's one movie I think we could skip till Friday. That's what I'm saying.
There's a lot. We have so much to talk about. Friday's going to be, first of all, today's going to be a big show. We've got a lot to discuss. Friday's show, we're just going to be reviewing a ton of movies, and we have an interview with a filmmaker. I just watched the movie. It's I can't wait to tell you about it, but we have to wait until Friday. Okay. Let's go to the
movie.
It's called Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
You don't have to see it.
Okay.
Wait.
Not to be confused with Do Not Destroy.
Do Not Disturb. Wait, I think is there someone at my door? Hello? Weird. Let's see who's in the chat today. Look.
Chris is about to get murdered, and we're here to watch it.
How are we going to get murdered? Actually, I'm expecting a package delivery, and the window of when it's being delivered is now.
Yeah.
So I put a note on my door to please knock. I might have to bolt in the middle of our conversation, but there you go. All right, let's start with some super chats here from Lover of Green for 5. What happened to the Nooner today? Was Gary too busy in Wisconsin? Wanted to see you and Gary roast the Marvels once more. Well, Gary is en route. He is traveling. He may in fact be driving, but he is going to Wisconsin for the meetup. I am not, and he decided to not do the Nooner today. So I decided, well, let's do Hollywood on the Rocks a little early. So that's what we did. And hey, Thanatophoric for 5 says Film Threat sucks. It sure does.
I haven't heard that this weekend.
I've been hearing that for decades, which is why I think it's the appropriate title for the documentary. It's a big FU. Like, it sucks. Okay, guess what? It's been around since 1985. Hilariously awful productions for 5. Chris Gore, when is your weekly meetup again? I'm flying to LA late tonight for work and leave Friday afternoon. Hail FT. I will not be at the meetup this week as I have another engagement. We normally meet at the AMC Burbank 16, and we go to Yard House for happy hour. Happy hour is usually about 5, and then we see a movie that starts around 6 or 7. I won't be there, but you are welcome to go to the AMC Burbank 16. Check out the 7-foot tall Batman statue. It's awesome.
By the way, are you going to do one on Thanksgiving?
Probably not. We're not doing it on Thanksgiving. So sorry, man, you missed it this time. Lil Wee Todd for 2. You make me happy. Oh, I know. That's a quote from a movie called Simple Jack, which is probably one of the great performances. That movie, though, pretty Oscar bait. Have you seen Simple Jack, Alan?
Oh, I thought you were talking about Tropic Thunder. Simple Jack?
It's the fake movie in the movie.
Okay, then no. Yes and no.
All right, and let's see. Real Reviews just became a YouTube member. Thank you, Real Reviews. Join us on our Discord. We'll hang out. A couple more chat comments and questions before we launch into today's main topic. Alan is actually, as we speak, looking up the box office for the Marvels, including the numbers for Monday and Tuesday. And so Alan's very busy doing that.
Everyone uses. I've been using Box Office Mojo, but I hear someone else uses a different one that's better.
All right, well, let's...
you don't know it. Okay, that's all I'm asking.
Brogu says, The Marvels is going down like a Led Zeppelin, and I don't mean the great band. I loved Led Zeppelin when I was in high school. All twisted up. Does anyone want to start a film group in OC? Wait, what? Okay, I don't know why I'm showing that, but that seems like a good idea.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
If I could do it consistently, I would do it.
There could be Alan's group and then Chris's group, and then we could fight like a gang, like in Anchorman. How about that? We'll get our groups together. Alan, I've built my team of nerds. Now it's your turn, Alan. Now it's your turn. All right. Raven79 for 499 says, hi all, love Film Threat. The attacks on critics of the Marvels aren't landing. Media has no choice but to admit defeat. I mean, it's not even about look, I'm not looking for a fight. I care about the truth. And what I said that went viral, like 4.5 million views. I don't know. My biggest tweet, which was just a quote tweet of Variety reporting that it was a box office bomb. I said, we'll get into it. Yeah. If you like Batman, you should visit my museum, says Ozzy's Robots for 2. Well, let me know details. Post about it on Discord. And Lord J for 499, cranking one out to Frank Gore as Captain Marvel was a bit of a tough one, but still managed it in 38 seconds. Well, thank you. There's on the community tab for our Film Threat channel on YouTube, somebody posted a photo of Brie Larson. And I thought to myself, that's a very attractive woman. A very attractive woman. And we'll talk about Brie. We're going to talk about Brie on the show. All right, a few more here, and we're going to get things started. I'm not here. This isn't happening. Is there a future for having an opinion about a movie that won't result in your entire character being eviscerated, whether you like it or not? Yeah, it did seem a little weird. Like, I'll talk about it, but some of it was upsetting, not because of the things people were saying, but because of who was saying it. It was disconcerting. Patrick Lemire says, I have that book on Chris's recommendation, worth every penny. What book are we talking about?
The Bible.
All right. When you're selecting and highlighting chat comments, context matters. And this is the opening of the show. So let's maybe be more selective.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Because I have no idea what that means. So there you go. I'm not here. This is for 499 pounds. I'm not here. This isn't happening. Thank you for that. Your comments on Bad Dads scheming an RT score of below 20% with critics and 90% from the audience. Can Hollywood still make comedies? Not for critics. Not for critics at all. Mm-hmm. Which kind of sucks. But yeah, I don't know. Whenever I see a divide like that with the critics and the audience, something's going on. And I think for the most part, critics are kind of out of touch, just like most of the mainstream media is out of touch. They're out of touch, and Hollywood's very out of touch in the sense that Hollywood used to champion the working class, blue collar blue collar, regular folks, as it were, people from the Midwest. Now there is an active disdain. People, elites on both coasts actively have disdain for just regular, normal folks who work jobs, I'm shocked to see it. This is not how Hollywood used to be. And so that to me explains the divide. It also explains the shrinking audience and the contraction of the marketplace. The contraction of the marketplace is specifically due to the fact that elites are out of touch with regular working people. And more, you're going to see the theatrical film experience become like going to see a Broadway play. Because who can afford to take a family to see a movie when it's not a matinee, right? It's not cheap when you include snacks. Not cheap. It takes a lot to get people to want to go out. So there you go. Thank you for that. Robert Paul Champagne discussing Madam Web trailer. Maybe we might get demonetized. I watched the trailer this morning. There's not much to say about it except it just doesn't look interesting to me. It's
who is it made for?
It's Spider Marvels. It's the Spider Marvels.
Oh, there we go.
Actually, could you bring it up? Maybe we'll do that. Thank you, Robert, for the suggestion. Alan Horkin, critics be like, this popcorn is boring and unoriginal, missing the point of popcorn. I love popcorn. I cannot smell popcorn without wanting to consume popcorn. It is a weakness. It is a weakness of mine. And movie theater popcorn is the best. All right. And a final super chat here from Colt Seaman for 1999. What's up, guys? Just turned 25 yesterday. And what I've learned from over the last quarter of a century is that no matter how old people are, shetheeds, did I say that correctly? Shetheeds just want to ruin the fun for all over any small thing like movie opinions. Yeah, true. Thank you, Colt. That was a very generous super chat, and happy birthday to you. I will do you the favor of not singing happy birthday. I will give you a toast. I wish I had something alcoholic in here. This is a Film Threat pint glass. If we ever meet in person, remind me, I'll bring you one. Okay. I've got a bunch of these in my kitchen. I'll bring you one. A toast to you, sir, on your birthday. Colt, happy 25 years. That is a milestone. Go out and have a drink. Well, on yourself, I guess, at this point. But thank you for hanging out with us here. And for, very generous. Thank you. Xarius for 5. Guys, how are people not discussing that Brie Larson had the Skrulls changed into the illegal immigrants of the universe, ruining them for the MCU? I mean, that's another point you could read certainly into that. I think that was kind of a little bit of what it was like also in the first Captain Marvel film. So there you go. And Zach Trammell, member for 13 months. Gets another toast from me. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Zach. I love the name Zach. Love the name Zach since in Battlestar Galactica, the original movie from 1978, Battlestar Galactica, Apollo's brother was named Zach. And he did not survive he did not survive the battle that day, that tragic day. Battlestar Galactica. First season was very good. It kind of went off the rails when it got to Galactica 1980. And then of course the new incarnation of the series is fantastic. Thank you, Zach, for being a member for 13 months. I appreciate it. And Lil Wee Todd for 2 says, how often do people not in the know ask who's Frank? Okay, I'll give you the history of Frank. I did an episode of FNT in April of this year in Las Vegas. It was all done live. We were all physically in person. So we're all sitting at a table with kind of cameras all awkwardly. Alan made a guest appearance on that episode, which is great. Probably one of the best things Alan's ever done. So Drunk 3PO Jay, who is a sweet human being, he is literally Simple Jack in real life. He just is. He's lovable. He's such a nice guy. Can't say a bad word about Drunk 3PO. I really love the guy. He also tells it like it is, and I appreciate him. He just looks at me and he goes, yeah, well, Frank said, and I said, who are you talking about? Frank Gore. And I said, do you mean me? And everybody just burst out laughing from FNT. And ever since I've been called Frank Gore. Hey, that Star Wars girl just got here. I hear you two have been causing trouble on Twitter. We're going to cause trouble in real life. Anna has been invited, and I hope you can still attend, Anna. We will be doing LA Comicon. It is the convention itself is December 1st through the 3rd. We have panels on, I believe we have panels on Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, here it is. If you can see, I shared screen. So I'll be there. We're doing The Death of the Modern Franchise, an indie filmmaker survival guide. That's Saturday, December 2nd. On Sunday, December 3rd at 2:30 p.m. Why 99% of movies today are garbage. Anna, you are invited to participate, and we'd love to have you. Go to comiconla.com to check it out. A few more here. Blue Collar Loser for 5. Hey, Chris, thanks for reading my super on Last Open Bar. I thank you for the recommendation. What if Star Wars was awesome? Gonna make a video on it. Found you via The Drinker. I love The Drinker. I've watched him for years before I actually knew him as a human being. And then have appeared, kind of maybe once a month. He'll invite me on if there's something interesting to talk about. And I appreciate that he helps support and promote us. But yes, Blue Collar Loser. If I can read a super, I'll read it.
Yeah.
All right. One last one before we get to today's big topic. Predator and Aliens were awesome and had diversity, but they prioritized storytelling, character development, and entertainment over diversity and political agendas. Also, I watched They Live upon your recommendation. Got any more? How about John Carpenter's The Thing? Stay on the John Carpenter train there. The original 1978 Halloween. The film that, spawned the franchise. PJ Souls is in it, probably in one of Alan's favorite scenes. Thank you, Samuel Aritan, for 1999. Very generous.
It's better than Stripes. Is that what you're saying?
Better than Stripes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You could do a PJ Souls marathon, watch Stripes and the 1978 Halloween. And that Star Wars girl says, yep, I'll be there. Well, thank you. And hopefully we got everything sorted out with badges and stuff, whatever. Just show up. It's you. But yeah, those panels are going to be fun. I think I put you on maybe 2 of those. I don't know. Up to you. If you can at least do 1, I would appreciate it. So there you go. And final here from Israel Theory for 99.99 Czar. I don't know what Czar is. Alan, what's Czar? Czar sounds like a planet in the Flash Gordon universe. By the way, Alan Ng started a gaming channel.
Oh, South African Rand.
South African Rand. Thank you, Israel, for that.
Czar.
That's awesome. Thank you, Israel. Did you see that Zack Snyder is doing MCU mistake with Rebel Moon? It's led by another violent woman of Hollywood. Yeah, I saw the Rebel Moon trailer and I thought, well, looks pretty. It looks a lot of the same. Nothing about what is it about that story that is going to compel me to watch it? I have seen some trailers that within the first 30 seconds, I'm hooked. I was not hooked by the story for this.
And that has nothing to do with whether it stars a woman or a person of color. Every story, every movie should stand out in some way on its own.
Right. I agree. But yeah,
Rebel Moon can star a woman, but you've got to tell a damn good story.
Yeah. And there was something about it. It's missing a hook. It's missing a hook. And I don't quite know what that is. Let's see here. One last chat, super chat. They're coming in fast and furious, folks. Ozzy's Robots for 5. Captain America was delayed. That's the new Captain America. Was delayed because it's essentially an Orange Man Band allegory. Is it fair to say Disney is grossly incompetent, malicious, or a psyop? I do believe that there is. I mean, it's no secret that the U.S. government and military work with Hollywood on, especially anything that is a military story. There is a department of the U.S. military. I met some of those guys at E3 several years ago.
And that's been going on since the beginning of Hollywood. Let's be fair.
Since the beginning of Hollywood, war bonds. I mean, look, you should watch. There are some Disney and Looney Tunes cartoons you can watch that are straight up propaganda.
There's a wing at the Walt Disney Museum that's dedicated to wartime propaganda.
Right. So, do you think that stopped? No, I think that it's more subtle, but it just sounds like a bad movie. I saw the Reddit leaks for Captain America 4, which has the Sam Wilson Captain America. It just sounds like a terrible story and does the character no service, which is very disheartening because I actually really like Anthony Mackie as that character. I think he's very good. I think that the story is doing him a disservice, aside from the fact that it's completely impractical costume. Look, I wear a helmet when I ride a motorcycle. I wear a helmet when I go out on my bike. He doesn't wear a helmet with flying wings. He's got the top of his head exposed because it looks cool. What a dumb costume. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That movie just sounds terrible, and it's going to be meddled with and have as much, it's going to be as much as a mess as the Marvels was.
Yeah. And why would you alienate half the population like that?
Well, look, we've got over 1,000 people watching us live. I want to thank you. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100,000 subs. I think we're close to 96,000 now. We do appreciate it. And look, here, I'll just give you a little enticement here.
These movie reviews are delicious. Film Threat sucks.
I don't know why she says that every time. All right, and for the 15% or 20% of you that are women in our audience,
these movie reviews are delicious.
don't take my word for it.
Holy fucking shit, these reviews are delicious.
Let's get right into it. Alan, you have let me we got to pivot here. We're going to talk about a couple of things.
Yeah.
One, we need to talk about the Marvels. And we need to talk about where the box office was. Let's go weekend numbers first. Alan, give me the week.
I have it all here. So
okay, you have it all here. So let's look at the weekend box office. The reported budget for this film is $270 million.
So it needs to make a little over $500 million to break even.
Right. So, I mean, to break even, yeah. So it's got to make maybe close to 600 mil to break it. We're not including the marketing costs, which is usually about $100 million.
Yeah.
But where are we for the weekend? And then we'll go day to day. So weekend box office, which includes the Thursday 6.6 million that it made.
Okay. So yeah. So thanks everyone. It's the numbers. That's what everyone told me to go to.
Cool.
Thursday, the Marvels made 6.6 million, which was off from Captain Marvel. That Friday went up 21 million. It went up to 21 million, and then started going downhill from there. Saturday was down 30% at 15, then 40% at 10, and then Monday it was 2.3 million. So right now it stands at $48.4 million.
So the current
that's domestic.
Okay, that's domestic. Do you have global? Because global, I believe, is over 100, but they were expecting more. And it basically did not do as well in China, where the movie is under a different title. It's Captain Marvel 2, because I don't believe that Ms. Marvel or WandaVision actually went to China. So they just called it Captain Marvel 2. But global box office, let's go to that.
Well, again, China is racist. And so that's why they
What is racist?
China is racist. I hate to break it to you, but China is racist.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So how do I? Because it's I don't know. See, I don't know how the numbers works here. They want to give me everything. They want to give me every movie. And then they're breaking it down here by country. So they're not even giving me a full number.
Look, let's just go to it's 111 million. I'm seeing at the top there. Worldwide box office.
60 million.
There you
go. So international did just what we're looking at, maybe 40% more, 40% better than 30% better than United States.
Right.
Or Canada.
Right.
So rounding 50 million to 60 million. So there you go.
Well, there you go. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So what can we even call it at this point? Really, I think the only thing is to just call it The Unremarkables.
Yeah.
From Muck Up Studios.
Well, what strikes me is apparently Gary Buechler has the power over women to prevent them from going to see a movie.
Well, the thing is this, when it was another statistic that was reported that people have thrown around is that the majority of the audience for this movie that went to see the film were men. 61% of the people who attended the Marvels are men. Mm-hmm. They went to see the movie, which is really surprising. I think that it just tells you that the majority of the Marvel's audience, look, Marvel has a lot of female fans. That cannot be denied. A significant number of female fans, but the main supporters of Marvel are men and boys. It is a boy brand.
Well, I mean, that begs the question. What was it about the Marvels that didn't appeal to women that Barbie did, or that Barbie was successful? Why did the audience for Barbie not come out to see the Marvels?
Not sure, but I'll just say this. If, let's say, this was what the movie was, if you basically did the Marvels and kind of from a storytelling standpoint, just kind of did Charlie's Angels with superpowers in outer space. Very simple. That's a movie I would have wanted to see. You have women in peril, but they can kick ass. That could have been so fun. It could have been fun. When you think of like what Charlie's Angels was when it was good, and I'll tell you when it was good. Charlie's Angels was great when Cameron Diaz was dancing in her Spider-Man underoos. And if they had taken that kind of energy and made the Marvels around that and actually allowed the women to be sexy. Look, I don't think anybody can doubt. I think it was actually Anna, that Star Wars girl, who tweeted out like a picture of Iman Vellani, like in her Ms. Marvel costume, and then what she looks like in real life. She is stunningly gorgeous. 2 ample Marvels right on her there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, I'm just stating a fact as I see it.
That making women attractive might actually help things.
Making women attractive. I will say this though. Brie Larson's costume in this movie, in the Marvels, is much better than what it was in Captain Marvel, where it's like this leather thing that's kind of ill-fitting. It doesn't fit as well. She got a much better outfit that actually is like form-fitting. It's compare the 2 costumes. But if you had made something that had the same energy as a Charlie's Angels in Space, I think it's a movie that both men and women would have liked to have seen. But as it is, you know, I'm going to quote Alan Ng's daughter. Alan Ng's daughter and her friends, which are the target demographic.
Hi, Dad, I miss you.
So I'm just going to quote what you said that they told you.
Yeah.
They said this movie looks lame.
No, they said the trailer looks lame.
The trailer looks lame. Well, I mean, do you want to talk? I mean, like, look,
yeah.
maybe we're not the target demo for this thing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's funny because the thing that got me into trouble this weekend was saying that this movie was made for teen girls and not for comic book fans, which there are two things there. One is teen girls didn't show up to see the Marvels. And so I will only amend that statement by saying the movie was made for teen girls, but did a bad job at it. Yeah,
that's fair.
Look, again, the opening sequence of the Marvels was Ms. Marvel in her bedroom fangirling out over Captain Marvel and drawing cartoons of her. Tell me, what is the audience for that? This is the opening sequence of the film, the sequence that sets the tone of the entire film. And again, I ask you, who is that made for? Who is that entire sequence made for?
Well, it's look, I mean, here's Brie Larson right here.
Sexy.
It's a like very attractive woman to me. I don't know why anyone would. I don't know why anyone.
Yeah, I think the more mature Brie Larson looks much better than.
You don't think that Brie Larson looks good in this?
I'm saying they made her look a little bit more mature than usual in this one. And
well, there you go. There you go. Well, look, let's go to your chat comments and questions.
If you missed the nooner, there you go. There's your photo for
the what you would have seen on the nooner. But ultimately, look, this was predicted to fail. It did fail. And so here we are. How you perceive that data is up to you. It is an indisputable fact that this movie failed. Now it's time to look at the reasons it failed. But I don't think that a lot of those reasons hold up. If women really wanted to see this movie, it would have been packed theaters for weeks like it was for Barbie. That is not the case here. And so you have to look at, like, who is this movie for? What decisions were made at an executive level? You can't blame the actors. You really can't. And in particular, it's been pointed out, even in every negative review that I've seen, every single person points out Iman Vellani is very likable as the character of Ms. Marvel. She just is. Her sort of spunky, cute. I'm kind of outside the universe. I'm a part of it. And she's like a fangirl. But the thing that I think is sort of unbelievable as we look at this is that she's such a super fan of Captain Marvel. Seems a little weird because we, the audience, would also have to be fans. Final thoughts on this before we move to our chat comments and questions.
What about the
on the fact that the Marvel's a box office bomb? Then we're gonna get to our Twitter controversy.
Yeah, okay. It's the look, we were not very kind to Barbie, and yet women went to see it anyways, which is fine. Nothing against that. Good for them. It just shows that, we don't have that kind of influence over the box office. The second thing is, everything we've been saying about the Marvels is just based on what they were giving us. And we've been watching movies for a very long time. We've been talking about why movies are good, why movies are bad. And all we did was basically say, this is why we think this movie is going to fail. And lo and behold, when we finally saw the movie, everything we said was right. It's like people want to see good movies. And, I think the quote, this was in response to one of Anna's tweets, but, why do men hate movies about women? The reality is men hate bad movies about women. And that's what we have here with the Marvels. Right.
Well, let's go to your chat comments and questions here. We'll start with some super chats from Darth Bobcat for 5. If you don't mind a shill, I did a take on how to make a competent The Marvels over on the channel Critique Corner. It features the Juggernaut. All right. Why don't you, Darth Bobcat, post a link to your video in the chat so people can go check it out. What I usually do is I put videos like that in my history, so it's like a reminder for me to watch it later. But thank you for that. Yeah, I think we did a kind of a thing here where we talked about, hey, make Charlie's Angels in outer space. If that was the approach they took, Charlie's Angels in Outer Space, it would have appealed to men. And the Charlie's Angels films, for the most part, have been very successful, except for the most recent one that, we were told not to go see. Men, this movie isn't made for you. It's like, okay. And then don't show up.
I still think that my idea is better. The idea that Captain Marvel did what Dark Phoenix did. She almost kills a planet. Jean Grey killed a planet. Here she almost kills a planet. And you now have taken the most powerful superhero in the universe, and you made her human by having her commit a grave mistake. And this mistake, this thing that weighs heavy on her of almost killing a planet, weighs heavy on her, and that allows for drama. That allows for a superhero story.
Yep.
And that allows you to now use her best friends in one super fan of Ms. Marvel, and then her niece to find a way to get her out of the funk and to ultimately save the day. And then you can bring in Dar-Benn as the person hunting for justice, chasing the criminal Captain Marvel. And then somewhere down the road, she realizes that there's a conspiracy on the Kree planet that wants this son to die and not allow Captain America to save her. And then you can do the twist where ultimately Dar-Benn saves Captain Marvel at the end when she reignites the sun, something like that. But to me, that seems much more like a comic book movie than what we got here.
Right. Thank you, Darth Bobcat. Hey, Puck 971 for 10 says, here is super chat for all the time I read your magazine whilst in college without buying it. Well, thank you, Puck 971. Look, I did the same thing. I went to newsstands. I was a newsstand junkie. I was a magazine junkie in the 80s and 90s. Just love I still have a fair collection of magazines.
Well, we've talked about this. How many times did Film Threat fail?
Film Threat failed quite a bit. It'd be like,
thanks, Puck 971.
Whatever, man. It's I don't know. It just resurrects from the dead like a zombie you can't kill. So, or like a James Cameron villain in the third act, just keeps coming back and coming back.
Next time, buy the magazine.
Well, if you had the magazine, it'd be worth money.
Yeah.
I spent over $100 to buy a stack of Film Threat magazines because it had one issue that I didn't own. Whatever. It's cool. Nathan Rodriguez for 2. The Marvels is worse than Battlefield Earth. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Slim Jim 491. Teen girls are not sitting in their room fangirling over other women. I promise you that. It's more like, well, unless it's someone like Taylor Swift, I think. But
or Valkyrie.
Yeah. No, Steve Easy says no need to make women look like 304s. What's a 304, Alan?
Of course you'd ask me.
Look up what a 304 is.
Yeah.
Alan and I, to be fair to our audience here, we're not cool. I actually know what a 304 is. I just want Alan to say it because I think it'll be funny.
Okay, yeah. It's a derogatory term for a promiscuous woman.
It's basically a 304. If you flip it upside down, is a hoe.
Well,
it's a hoe.
Yeah, you want to be crass about it. Yeah.
It's a hoe. I can see Ms. Peacoffy laughing in the background. Another super chat here from Israel Theory. Another 99.99 czar. You nailed it when you said Disney is feminizing boy brands. Making women violent plus sexless will keep failing. I believe it will. And thank you for that. I'm sure that's like $1. 99.99 czar. Can you look that up, Alan, what the exchange is? But thank you, Israel. We appreciate it. I don't care if it's $1. I don't care if it's a 199.
Why would you shame his country like that?
I don't know. No shame intended. Ozzy's Robots for 199. Even Sideshow Bob couldn't save the Marvels. Yeah, that's true. Sideshow Bob, well, the voice of Sideshow Bob at the very end in that post-credit scene, Kelsey Grammer as Beast. And I'm pretty sure that was just a digital version.
That wasn't, he did the voiceover for it.
Right.
By the way, it's $5.50.
Oh, nice. Well, that's generous. I appreciate that. I you know what? I'm grateful for anything. I'm grateful we've got 1,400 people watching us live. Please subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. Talon Mage 40K for 5. How does Ms. Marvel even know who Captain Marvel is? I don't recall Carol being around the general public like the Avengers. Yeah, did she become like a star? Like,
Not
I don't
really.
understand. I mean, it's not like Ant-Man. They kind of explain his celebrity, Paul Rudd in that opening sequence of Ant-Man 3, where he like writes a book and he's kind of like a celebrity. I'm Ant-Man. And then he gets mistaken for good luck, Spider-Man. I love that guy.
Yeah, I mean, because when Nick Fury blipped, no one had known about Captain America or Captain Marvel.
Right.
The only time she makes an appearance is at the final battle at Endgame.
Right.
And I doubt she went on some publicity tour at that point where people were wanting to make merchandise and comic books about her within that time.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And we're going to go from the bottom here. Lord Thoth. Hey, Lord Thoth. Captain Marvel equals binary saga is after Rogue steals her powers. You are skipping to the end, Alan. She has a whole arc to get there.
Yeah. No, I know that. I have the comic book where binary appears. But there was a large gap between the time that Rogue steals her powers and she becomes binary.
Phone
They're
hashtag,
skipping to an end. I think that's what we're saying.
hashtag phone punk. This movie isn't for you if you like good movies. Draenor says men are easy. Make a movie with sexy women that doesn't criticize men for looking at the sexy women. I hate to say this. Men are pretty basic when it comes to a lot of things. I say this because I am one. And yeah, we're just like, I think most men are pretty wired fairly simply in that
Look, if
way.
you want a movie about misogyny, 9 to 5.
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much the quintessential movie. And you can't argue with that movie, with what it presents and what it does.
Right.
I don't think you could make 9 to 5 today without feeling like it was preachy.
Right. All right. And Turo, hey Turo, if The Marvels was good, Alan would be marveling at it in his review. Oh, well, there you go. And from Rumble, $8.24. So are North American women also misogynist for not showing up? Men can't keep both women's entertainment and sports afloat at once during this recession without some help from women. Women's bank accounts. Yeah, true. And Daniel Roden says cats and dance planets are not for most teenage boys. That's true. Like, yeah, cats and dance planets. Like, this is for wine moms, this movie. It's not, I don't even know if it's for tween girls. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, tween girls. I mean, I think Ms. Marvel was not meant for teen girls. It was meant for tween girls. Right. Which is why it was perfect for Disney Plus.
Right. All right. We're going to shift topics slightly. We're going to continue to talk about the Marvels. We'll continue to discuss. And we're going to take it from a different angle here. We're going to take it from a different angle. I put this in the document and there it is. Okay, I found it.
Yeah, and so therefore we created a banner for it.
Miss Peacoffy's mad at me now. I'm gonna be in trouble after the show. She always yells at me. It's there. It's there.
I know. It's like I did exactly what you wanted. What do you want?
I did what you wanted. Oh my god. All right. A couple of quick things we're going to discuss here. One is we reviewed a movie, Alan and I. It was reviewed on the Film Threat website at filmthreat.com. You can look up the review. And we also reviewed it on YouTube, as we all do. But this was a little bit different because we've seen the constant decline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with movies making less and less money and classic characters being replaced by female versions that are from the comic. So it's, you can't say like as a defense, like, hey, that never happened. It's like all of this stuff actually does happen in comics that were not successful. That's just a reality. I pointed out because I care about truth. I pointed this out with a very simple tweet, which went viral. I saw freaking Matt Walsh retweeted me on this, which I thought was interesting.
First of all,
He has no idea who I am. It doesn't.
I have to call you out on this because you were jealous that I was getting internet heat, and
Yes.
so you had to create one for yourself. And so while it took me 4 days to get 700 new followers, you do one little tweet, and there you go. You have 500 followers in a snap of a finger. I mean, you're jealous. You're a jealous man. That's all
I'm jealous of Alan.
Yeah.
All right. I'll just read the tweet really. All I did was quote tweet Variety, which, by the way, Variety follows me. Variety follows a lot of people, but I follow Variety. I want to know entertainment news. And what Variety said was this: Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe is no longer a bulletproof box office franchise. That much is clear after the Marvels misfired with $47 million in its opening weekend to land the worst debut in MCU history. And there's a link to a longer story that elaborates on that fact that was pointed out. I decided to elaborate on that fact. And I said quite simply, I quote tweeted Variety and I said, turning Marvel and Star Wars into girl brands will prove to be one of the costliest decisions in entertainment history. What is wrong with saying that? I'm talking about money. It's show business, not show friends. We're talking about money that this movie generated. And we're talking about a franchise that you can look up how many Marvel movies were north of $1 billion. I'll say this. There's a new record that Marvel has made, and that is the largest drop in a sequel film. So the original Captain Marvel made over $1 billion. This movie is going to probably end up at less than half of that, dramatically less than half. It was sandwiched between two Avengers movies that were of interest. In Avengers Infinity War had a cliffhanger ending. It's a cliffhanger. And then which actually teased Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was, I believe, the very next movie. Then there was an Ant-Man movie, and then, of course, Endgame.
Yeah. The Marvels will be lucky if it makes $200 million in its entire run. This Friday, the Marvels is now removed from all premium screens, and in Orange County, it's one screen per theater. I mean, that's how much the theaters are pulling back on the Marvels.
Well, I mean, I was looking at opening weekend because I like to pop around to theaters and see, and there were screenings where no tickets were sold.
Yeah.
0 tickets were sold. So they put it in on too many screens, and it really is an algorithm. You can look and like, this movie's not performing, reduce the number of screens, and have the number of screens match the amount of revenue that the movie's going to bring in. I mean, look, if this were an indie movie, this would be a colossal success. This is a movie that cost nearly $300 million.
Yeah, I mean, it performed relatively the same as Five Nights at Freddy's.
Right. But what ended up happening was, and I have to thank my friends who came to my defense, and the cowardly people I have discovered now. Look, it's no secret. Hollywood is filled with people who are phony, who pretend to be your friend. And simply by saying these words, I have now discovered who those fake friends are. You were never my friend. You were a complete phony, and you might have only been my friend maybe for some perceived clout, which was sad. I'm thinking of 2 women in particular who did something kind of shitty. They quote tweeted me. First of all, they unfollowed me. These are people I know in real life, IRL. Okay. Unfollowed me, quote tweeted what I said, talked some S. You know what that means. Made disparaging remarks and then locked the thread so I couldn't reply to them. The only way for me to reply would be to quote tweet them. Not going to do it. Those are people I will run into in real life. I hope you're happy with what you did. That's kind of a terrible thing to do to someone who you say is a friend. I think it's cowardly. You're welcome to go through these comments. It's now at 4.5 million views. The biggest tweet. I mute accounts. But I did block those two people. You don't deserve to be my friend. Anyways, you can go through. Paul Chato actually made a video about the tweet. You can go to Chato's channel, but there are a lot of women in here that were defending me. And I do appreciate it. I appreciate it. Make it more lame. My friend Christopher Flynn. And look, I'm just being completely honest. Disney is a girl brand. Disney is princesses. And everything that Disney absorbs because of the corporate infrastructure, and I've often said, corporations kill creativity. Once absorbed, they will inevitably, both Star Wars and Marvel, will be turned into girl brands. It just happens. So, I don't know how you fix it. I don't know. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know that it's fixable at this point. This actually failed worse than I thought. Mm-hmm. I followed this up with a reminder that all I said, and this got a lot of traction as well. That's my friend David Poland, who's actually David Poland. Give him a follow on Twitter. He does a blog and a channel called The Hot Button. He is one of the greatest minds covering entertainment. We don't see eye to eye necessarily politically. I don't care. I have some great conversations with David Poland. All I said was this. I said, I don't know who needs to hear this, but you can be friends with people who do not agree with 100% of your opinions. The fact that I even need to state that tells me how stupid the world has become. How many more people have become NPCs, or how many more people's brains have been addled by social media addiction, looking for something to rage about. And, there have been attempts to cancel me, and I just don't care because I know it's going to go away. It goes away in a couple of days because there'll be another set of jangling keys over here and something to get mad at. But I do think there's almost a dopamine rush that people are getting from social media because they're looking for something to be angry about. I just happen to be that thing. And but what I find is it's not deep thinkers. I always look to have a good conversation.
Plus,
go ahead, Alan.
Plus it's the small number of people who are loud on the internet.
Yes.
Like one of the people who did that to you, I looked at it and it was like that comment was seen by 200 people.
Yeah.
That's the power of these loud people.
Right.
And the reality is the people who agree, the majority of us don't tweet on social media or don't post anything on social media. We'll throw the like, which is great. That's amazing. That
if this was the Marvels, I would get Marvel's underwear if this were happening. That's Cameron Diaz in Spider-Man underoos dancing. And do you remember? Oh my God, I have to go to this. Do you remember what she said? What she said? Like she's dancing in that's another thing. I was just messing with
what are you doing?
Of mine. But it's like she says to the UPS guy, like, oh, like she comes to the door and it's something like, hey, just feel free to put the mail in my slot. It's like such a hilarious sexual innuendo. I thought it was great.
Oh, I remember what those were.
Yeah. Something like that. Anyways, all right, we're gonna get off this. But the thing is, a lot of people came after us. That's fine. Par for the course. I can deal with it. I'm a big boy. It doesn't matter to me. At the same time, what I'm surprised about is people who once called me a friend. It shows you how fragile a friendship is. If a tweet comes out and someone I've known for over 10 years says, Jesus effing Christ, Chris, I'm not defending you this time. This person claims they defended me. And then unfollowed me, quote tweeted me, and sent it out. I feel stupid even complaining about Twitter. And it's interesting, find out who your real friends are. It's as if they don't even watch our YouTube channel anyways. They just pay attention to what's on Twitter, which is fine. Alan, you were getting some heat. I don't know if you want to if you want to share.
Here, I posted something recently. Let me just pull it up here. I've learned Twitter over the last few days. It's like all these things you could do with Twitter. Let me see. And then I need to, how do I switch? Dang it. How do I switch tabs? Okay, here. Oh,
should I explain to you how the internet works, Alan?
Well, no, it's like you should be able to just do a screenshot, or you just should do whatever's live on your screen. Okay, here we go. I got it. All right. So I basically just said there are few who actually make cogent and reasonable arguments about what you and I said this last week. Respect. The vast majority instead pull the straw man argument and resort to name calling and labeling because they have no actual argument. I mean, that's the thing I experienced all weekend. There was a Marvel and DC writer who posted a comment about my tweet, and she basically said, she basically was saying what everyone else was saying, and I felt like she could be reasonable, and I just responded by saying, look, this is the quote that Rotten Tomatoes pulled of mine, and I recognize the reality that there are women and girls who read comic books. The problem is that when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, I rarely saw a woman in a comic book shop, rarely saw a woman at a Comicon. And that thankfully today there are more women and girls who read and make comic books. But the problem is you cannot make a $250 million movie and expect that base to show up. And she came back at me by saying, I understand that. It's just that the way you stated it, it sounded like you were excluding girls from comic books. And I said, you're right. That's how it sounded. You're not wrong. And that's what Rotten Tomatoes chose to run. And then I said, the internet is not a great place to have a nuanced conversation, at which point she responded, you're right. And we liked each other's comments and went on our day. And that's the thing, is you can have a civil conversation, understand the other person's standpoint, find common ground, and move on with life. But in these cases, they have nothing. These critics have nothing to say. They'll call you a name, they'll label you as some kind of a group, and they'll move on without ever challenging. No one ever, when I said that this movie was not written by a person who read a Marvel comic or it's read Archie instead, the comments were always, you're wrong, you're a misogynist, you're this, you're that, but no one ever gave me an example of how I was wrong. When I said this movie was made for teen girls and not for comic book fans, they called me a misogynist, but never gave me an example of why. And there were some, again, brave people who disagreed with me and decided to actually engage in a conversation. And respect for that. Absolutely. I am up for criticism. That's what I do. I criticize movies. I'm big enough to realize that people will have different opinions and feel passionate about those. And that's fine. That's what we used to do. Stand at a water cooler and have this incredible conversation about what we just saw. And if we happen to disagree, that made the conversation even better. And we've lost it. We've lost the ability to have a conversation, to find common ground, and to make this industry better from it.
Well, look, to me, when you disagree and you debate and discuss your point of view, it's an opportunity to learn something. Mm-hmm. We can all learn from each other. I can see from your point of view. I can also disagree with you and be more hardened in my own point of view. I mean, look, art is subjective. How you consume entertainment is also subjective. It's your look. It's like debating over flavors of ice cream. Chocolate is better than vanilla. No, vanilla is better than chocolate. You can yell at each other all day, but it's like at a certain point, that's where what I disagree with is people coming after you and I and making really disparaging remarks. Again, like you pointed out, the name calling, trying to discredit. I couldn't believe
trying to put you in a group of some sort.
A former coworker of mine, who I haven't talked to, and this is actually fairly common for like when you work on a show, whether it's a movie or a TV show, once it wraps and you move on to something else, you really don't talk with a lot of people after. You kind of keep in touch or whatever, but like that's it. This person came after me in an incredibly cruel way. F that person, unfollowed, blocked, and goodbye. Goodbye. And that's it.
And they wanted you to know that, right?
They wanted me to know it. And it's weird because normally I would mute those people. Now I've gotten to the point where like, nope, when you cross a line, you're gone. Let's go to your comments and questions here. I don't know.
Yeah. Let me just say one thing that I found interesting was when my Rotten Tomatoes review came out, people grabbed a screenshot, had my name, Film Threat, and then the quote. After a couple days, they removed my name and put something like "sad little pathetic man." But I found it interesting that they removed my name. And not saying that that these anti-racists are racist, but maybe they're racist. That's all.
I think part of the problem is, Alan, you're not. I mean, Alan, you are of Asian descent.
Mm-hmm.
It's incumbent upon you to listen to all the white people. You don't have the right opinions, Alan.
Yeah.
Why aren't you?
I agree. I would one day
Alan?
love to have the same supreme opinions that white people have.
Oh my God.
In fact, white people, please tell me how I can become the supreme person that you need me to be. And I will do that. Thank you.
Well, the thing is I feel like that's like, I mean, look, I mean, I know you're joking. We joke all the time about stupid stuff, but like, it is sort of like, what are you, this guy, you just have this opinion. You are allowed to have this opinion. What I don't like is you're seeing a lot of people that like are almost like telling you you're not allowed to have this opinion, Alan Ng. You're not allowed to think for yourself or be an individual. They see you as a group that has to get in line. It's kind of disgusting. Oh, wait, I like your new shirt.
Oh, thanks.
Look at that. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a movie that just came out last weekend from Mexico called Radical, starring Eugenio Derbez. And you realize watching the movie that the Mexican education system is far superior than California education system. But the whole point of that movie was, if you teach a child to think critically, that child can master more skills, even if they're not taught that skill. And that's the thing we've lost with our young folk these days. They've lost the ability to think critically, to take an idea that you hold and challenge it. And by challenging it, it either A, strengthens your position, or B, causes you to think through your arguments. And maybe you might be wrong, maybe you might be right, or maybe you just need to be a little more nuanced about the way you say it. But critical thinking is something that is lost on social media and frankly, in our youth today.
Yeah. Well, let's go to your comments and questions here. We have a lot. So thank you for your generosity here. Look, Magnum Norse became a YouTube member. Beerosaurus Rex has been a member for 15 months. It's outrageous, egregious, preposterous. Thank you for that. By the way, we had planned to review a bunch of movies today and talk about other topics. I don't think we're going to get to any of them.
We're not going to get to Girls on Film.
We're going to do a longer show on Friday, and we're just going to review movies on Friday. Nothing fancy. Friday, we're just reviewing movies. And we'll get to the Hunger Games, because by then, Alan will have seen it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear what you think. Fear the Turtle 21 for 10. Chris and Alan are in a unique spot, since y'all kind of need to be on social media. But the average Joe should just stay off social media. 100% recommend. Got off all platforms in 2015 and never looked back. Life-changing.
Yeah, I tell my daughter that. Just don't go on social media.
I envy you, Fear the Turtle 21, who's also a member for 10. I envy you because I kind of have to be on to kind of promote what we do. and promote Film Threat and promote our award show and promote Alan's new shirt, which you can get at shop.filmthreat.com. Where's that banner we can have running?
It's there.
On the bottom.
It's always been there. It's never gone away.
Alan loves to point out when I'm wrong, which is...
I'm just saying, StreamYard is not exactly the most organized. Doesn't never really organize things on StreamYard very well.
Oh my God. Okay. Alan and I were actually hanging out yesterday. It was really fun, actually. We went to Zanku Chicken, which I love that place. Zanku Chicken.
Saw Napoleon.
We saw Napoleon, which we'll talk about. If we have time, we'll talk about it on Friday. We'll review Napoleon, which comes out in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah. The embargo is lifted, so.
Yeah, so we'll discuss it then, but we're going to stay focused on this topic. And our special guest, do not leave when the special guest joins. It's going to be epic. It'll also fill you with optimism. Yeah, go to shop.filmthreat.com. Check out, we have 50, that's right, 50 different types of shirts available. You pick the design, you pick the size, the style, the color, and you get kind of your own like custom made little Film Threat shirt. And there's a coupon. It's Film Threat -HO. You get 10%, you save 10%. So there you go, Film Threat -HO to save 10%.
By the way, we're reviewing Wish on Friday.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
It's gonna be a doozy.
Okay, yeah. So, oh God, there's so many movies. We're gonna do like a 3-hour show on
We
Friday.
have to do Wish. That's all I'm saying is we have to do Wish.
Okay. We're just doing a longer show on Friday. Today is a shorter show because reasons. But thank you, Fear the Turtle, 21. Magnum Norse for 20. The Marvels is the perfect vision of why Hollywood doesn't deserve our money. 100%. Sean Z, member for 10 months, says, I love you guys. Best days, Wednesday and Friday. Film Threat for life. Got off Instagram for a bit, but didn't miss it. But I missed you guys. Oh, that's super kind. Appreciate that. Matthew Hammond for $4.99. Always like to see your name there, Matthew. When you're in the chat, I know it's a good stream. You should not waste your time with people that backstab you. Train your algorithm to show you cat and dog videos. It will make your time on X better. I love cat and dog videos. I look at them on Instagram. I look at them on, I like cat and dog videos. One of my favorite ones was a guy did photography of a dog's. So it was just photography of dogs, but he did like sports photography, like capturing an action in the middle. And it was dogs eating treats.
Oh yeah.
So
throwing treats to dogs.
You throw a treat to a dog and the dog like goes and makes like a weird face. And it's just still shots of the dog's faces. It was so great. It really made me feel happy. So there you go. Andy's been a member for 12 months, says, I'm 35 years old. I never imagined how much I would miss stories of my favorite male Hollywood superheroes. Luckily, anime heroes are still safe for now. Thank you, Andy, for being a member. We appreciate it. And I agree. We need heroes. We do need heroes. It's important for culture. It's important for just many things. Chris, is Cap a beard for K-pop boy?
Oh my God.
Says Pilgrim Media. No, like we talked about that.
I don't understand why the Asian community is happy with Captain Marvel in a loveless marriage with an Asian man.
Yeah.
Why am I the only one who finds this problematic?
It is problematic. And Matthew Hammond goes on to say, I already got that one. I'm so sorry. I'm a little gotta unstar these. Sorry about that. High Frequency Productions for 20. Hey guys, I had a falling out with a longtime friend in 2020 over politics. We haven't spoken since. Thinking about reaching out for some closure. Is that a crazy idea? I moved out of LA since that time. No, I think it's always a positive thing to reach out. And also time, kind of that time you get perspective, which I think is a positive thing to have some perspective. You should absolutely reach out. I always encourage trying to bridge divides. I've done it like, look, I can't sit here and tell you I'm a perfect person, but if I realize, oh, I made a mistake, I really need to apologize to that person, I'll apologize. But also I'm the type of person that if you're my friend, you're just like my friend. I have friendships going back more than 30 years. My friend David E. Williams, we met in 1987. He sent me a letter to Film Threat and was yelling at me. We thought it was funny. He was at the time a student at San Francisco State University. We both moved to LA a couple years later. Been friends with him ever since. I talk to that guy, I don't know, every other month. Or then when we work together, we just hang out. It's like a conversation that's ongoing. I do take friendships very seriously. And the divide is one of the biggest problems. And what concerns me most is how little that's given attention. Look at what's happening around the country right now, how divided things are.
Yeah, growing up, my best friends were people I disagreed with politically. I mean, like disagreed with politically, and things were great up until 2016, and then it was just like can't be around you anymore, and it was sad. But look, I belong to an improv troupe, and it's a theater group, and they fell under the same spell. I mean, I basically said after 2016, it's like, I'm going to take 2 months off and not be around and just let people heal a little bit before I went back. And that's
well,
that's where we've come. That's where we've come.
Well, thank you, High Frequency Productions. Appreciate it. You should definitely reach out. Sean Hu for 742 says, I miss when you could disagree with someone and remain friends who happen to have different opinions. Yeah, I miss that. And like, I never really cared. I always connected with people based on common interests or common likes. It could be a sports team. It could be movies, and movies is very broad, right? So yeah, and politics was not even something I really talked about all that much. And I'll say this, I am very passionate. I've watched every presidential debate since Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. I just got caught up. I was a little kid then. The minute I could actually vote, when I turned 18, I registered to vote, and I have voted in every presidential election. I also vote in midterms, but also I vote and then I'm done. And then great, don't have to deal with that for a while. Now the problem is that politics has become pervasive in our daily lives, and it's disheartening. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah, it's this idea that what you believe is dangerous, and therefore it makes you dangerous.
Right.
So if you don't believe what I believe, you're a dangerous person. And
that's weird.
It's weird. It's weird.
Weird. Okay, we got a lot, so we got to get through these.
Okay.
Blackie Blackerton. Okay, Blackie Blackerton for 999. As a Gen Xer, I had reminded myself that Disney is not cool, even taste-wise. Warner Brothers and Chuck Jones was better. Dude, I'm Gen X. I never liked Disney stuff when I was growing up. Always loved Looney Tunes. Always loved like Bugs Bunny, who was kind of the instigator, and Daffy Duck. Looney Tunes was cool. Disney was milquetoast. Disney Plus did major brand damage to Marvel and spilled into film.
Remember Rabbit Season?
Rabbit Season?
Yeah.
Duck Season. Rabbit Season. Duck Season.
Yeah. And then you had a gun involved.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. Guns in cartoons. God, I miss guns in cartoons. Yeah.
Now it's anvils off a cliff.
Yeah. Guns in bring back guns in cartoons. Aaron for 499. I'll be your friend, Chris Gore. Also, I just followed you on X, Alan. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that. MK Solid 82 says Chris loves good beef. Okay, yes, that is actually true. And goes on to say for 499, Marvel and Lucasfilm thought they could turn all the boy brands into the new pink colored toy section at Toys R Us. It's absolutely ridiculous. 100% agree. Brian Blevins just became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Samuel Ariton for 999. Do you think with the consolidation of Hollywood, there might be an opportunity for high quality independent films and low cost action films akin to Boondock Saints? Or just more low budget Oscar bait? Yes, 100%. He'll tell you why and how. They've just gone through all these the strikes. They're wrapping that up. Although it's not, the AI stuff is still a little questionable. There are no rules when making indie film. You can use AI all you want for special effects, for digital actors. I believe in the not too distant future, there will be an independent filmmaker that will make a movie that rivals a Star Wars using off-the-shelf tools to tell an epic story. Why aren't you working on that right now? You don't need Hollywood now, which you might.
By the way, you can hire SAG actors.
Yes,
film.
there is an agreement. You can look this up. Just Google this. It's SAG Indie. It is an independent. It is a contract for a lower budget film. It gives the actors a little bit more power because they have approval over it, depending on what level of release. But it is a contract. I think SAGindie.com you can go to, or just Google SAG Indie. It is a contract where you can hire SAG actors to be in your independent movie. But I believe using AI to make high quality Hollywood special effects is the wave of the future. And when Russall Beattie comes on in about 10 minutes, he's going to show us his book. Gotham. And we're going to discuss his vision for Batman. When you see this, one, you're going to want to get the book. Two, you have a chance to win the book. Everyone watching live, you have to watch live to get a chance to win the book. I don't know how many copies he's going to give away. He's in Australia, but I bought that book twice. I bought a copy of it and sent it to Gary Beekler because I was just so blown away by it. But yeah, I believe there will be a new revolution in independent film. Independent film is already a revelatory. It's a thing that is not constrained by, as one would say in the Joker voice, you have all these rules.
Yeah.
There are no rules in independent film. That's my Heath Ledger terrible Joker imitation.
I've been saying this for months, but Hollywood is not the dream.
No,
if you want to become a real filmmaker, Hollywood is not the dream.
Yeah.
In fact, you become a cog in the machine of Hollywood once you sign that union contract.
Right.
Once you accept Hollywood money, they own you and they own your ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. Russell's going to be on here shortly. Let's get through some more of your chat comments and questions. And apologies today. Today, Wednesdays are kind of our chill stream. We talk news stories. We talk, a lot of different stuff. Friday is our straight up reviews. We are going to be doing rapid fire, probably reviewing maybe about 10 movies on Friday, including Hunger Games, which Alan will have seen by then. Right, Alan?
Yeah.
Magnum Norse for 10 says, well, communism is dangerous. Just ask the 3 million Ukrainians in the 1930s who starved to death. Oh, wait, you can't ask them. There you go. Hey,
ask the Chinese in China.
Shout out to Nerd Cookies. Hey, guys. Nerd Cookies, a channel that I devour, kind of like cookies. Whenever there's a new Dune video from Nerd Cookies, I have to watch it. I have to watch it immediately. But thank you, Nerd Cookies. I got some interesting information about Aaliyah from Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
I think they're from a source. Someone said they're doing something different, and the person who told me this, who's working on the effects, says, I'm not sure how fans will react.
So Aaliyah is the girl
Aaliyah is Paul's sister.
Okay, the little girl, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Born of Lady Jessica.
Okay.
So, but yeah, Nerd Cookies. Oh, thanks, Chris. Love Nerd Cookies channel. And whenever there's a Dune video, I rush to watch it. So there you go. Wes, Ray, Alan, as both a Christian and musical fan, will you be reviewing Journey to Bethlehem?
Yes, I was not planning to, but I have been told that it's actually a good movie.
All right. Well,
So,
it's
if I can get to the theater and see it, I will.
It's on the list.
Is it?
No, but we're gonna add it to the list. I gotta
if I
read
can see it.
I have to apologize to Ms. Peacoffee here because we're constantly changing that thing. It's like a living document. So it's like on the day everything could completely change. Oh, real quick, did you notice? I decorated for Christmas.
Yeah.
Where are your decorations, Alan?
I actually some stuff just came in from Temu, and so we'll probably be working on our Thanksgiving setup this weekend.
I'm way ahead of you. I've already got the Christmas decorations out.
Well, here, I'll set up 4th of July, and I'll be way ahead of you.
Yeah, do that. All right, starting from the top, we'll get to as many of these as I can. Ozzy's Robots. Let's see. It says Rogue stealing Danvers' powers would be a great way to kickstart the X-Men. Not that Disney would do it. And Cavatino Cavalryman Shay says, how many Flirt Kitten popcorn buckets will sold for $39.99 each? And will people collect all 5 variants? That's going to be discounted.
A $40 cat bucket.
Oh my God. I might have to get one. From Rumble. Oily Maniac, sub supporter. Thank you, lol. Film Threat reviewers under attack for stating the truth. Yeah, that's what I felt was weird. Like, what's the defense? I literally was adding to the analysis that Variety had already done.
Mm-hmm.
Variety had already said biggest box office bomb in MCU history, not a bulletproof franchise anymore. And I was just stating that this decision has hurt the brand. That's all.
It's funny, but the only word offensive in that tweet was girl.
Yeah. Lame. Alan Horkin, objective truth is not popular at the moment. It's so funny. Look, if I was a superhero, I'd be Captain Common Sense. Because I'm just common sense about this. I don't think common sense is a virtue of the left or the right. It's just common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why, I don't want to get into it. All right. I'm just gonna say I'm common sense and truth. That's where I sit solidly. Jim Eagle, how can they possibly argue what can be factually shown by box office results? Exactly. Lord Thoth, no, it shows you how fragile friendships are in Hollywood. That's true. Lord Thoth, you are 100% right. I just and I've known this woman for over a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And the other person I worked with at G4, also, you could have easily DM'd me a note. Maybe people were coming after them because they were friends with me. Show a backbone.
Yeah.
Show a backbone.
Did the person who worked at G4 watch anything on G4?
No idea.
Okay.
Ryan Landis says, Alan finds the one person on Twitter that had a logical conversation with him. I'm jealous. Iceman, I'm brown, and all I do is dance to Bollywood and eat curry. Well, there you go. First of all, I love Bollywood. I love Tollywood, and I love curry. Great Indian restaurant in Pasadena. If you're in Pasadena one of these days, Iceman, let me know.
By the way, I eat everything with chopsticks. So.
Yeah. Also, when Alan enters a room, a giant song of a gong happens. Right? Am I right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Everyone.
We have our special guest joining us momentarily. We're going to get through some more of these chat questions and comments here. Ryan Landis, Alan, congratulations. You are an honorary white guy now. I'll show you the secret handshake later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I want to be a white guy. Thanks.
From Rumble, Samtisia says, I'm of Asian descent, and to be honest, most racist behavior towards me comes from so-called social justice warriors. True. Sons and Shadows, be a film threat, ho. Yeah, come on, be a film threat, ho. Tom Siebert, master of action, John Woo, interviewed him for Face Off, total gentleman and class act. Yeah, I've interviewed him back in the 90s in Film Threat and met him. $8.24 from Rumble. What happened to critical thinking skills among the masses? People can't think for themselves anymore without becoming vile. It's true, and it's also very concerning. Wes Ray. Sorry, we got to that one. My apologies. And Nerd Cookies, I covered your comments on Aaliyah in a video already, Chris. That's right. I did watch that video. Yeah, it was a guy who worked on Previs and just told me, we were asking, how come Marvel movies effects are so bad and how come Dune looks so good? I don't really have much more than that. But yeah, Nerd Cookies, I'm sure you'll be leaked some things. I love your channel. Shout out to Nerd Cookies. Subscribe. Gun Homek, the list is fluid. You know who starred that comment was Ms. Peacock. Starred that.
Yeah,
comment.
That wasn't me.
Alan, your white privilege card is in the mail, says $8.24 from Rumble.
No offense, but I don't need to be a white person.
It's yeah. A lot of them can be jerks.
Like, enjoy your life, Chris.
Few more super chats here. Russell is waiting here very patiently.
I know.
I'm so excited to have him on the show. I am such a fan of his stuff and have been before we met in person, just got to know each other. Mike Dude for 199. Daniel Cretton is no longer directing Avengers 5.
Yeah,
there's been a big
change. Changed Avengers 5.
Yeah, now it's not Kang Dynasty. I think they're changing everything. I feel like they have to wrap up phase 4 and 5. All this, whatever storylines they'd started, please just wrap it up. Tell the story. Maybe recast Kang. MK Solid 82 for 499. Even today, you cannot talk to most women about nerdy topics. It's still extremely rare. Disney is delusional to bet on their demographic. And Doc Savage is here for 5. Hey, Doc Savage, always good to see you. Is that your avatar from like Xbox or like a Wii? I love that. I miss that. I miss that. Doc Savage comes in. Are storyboards still a thing when planning out a show? 100%, especially when it comes to special effects or what they call them, animatics.
Yeah, animatics.
Or like, for example, we've talked about this on the show before, but directors like Denis Villeneuve and Steven Spielberg, if they're doing something special effects heavy, they basically make the movie before they shoot the actors. So they've constructed a sequence, and sometimes it's very crude. George Lucas really created this process when he was doing The Empire Strikes Back. He was the second unit director of all the effects. That's why I think The Empire Strikes Back is the best movie of the Star Wars films, because it's kind of everyone in their best roles. You got Irvin Kershner to kind of do the actors. So it's the best acting in the original trilogy. George Lucas was doing storyboards and kind of he was directing all the second unit stuff. And you can see there's the making of The Empire Strikes Back. They did these very crude on paper, moving storyboards. I mean, they don't look great, but it kind of spells out with the sequences. That way you can edit the movie and like, okay, we just need this shot replaced. We need this shot replaced. But my understanding is Denis Villeneuve he can basically watch Dune Part 2 in crude form. And then it's like, this is where I need a shot of Timothée Chalamet, Paul Atreides doing this, right? So there you go. Anyways, Doc Savage, thank you. And thank you everyone that sent in the super chat today. Very generous today, and we appreciate it. All right.
By the way, hold on. I'm reading the chat here. I'm just going to say our food is better.
Whose food is better?
Chinese food is better.
There you go.
Yeah.
But we have a very special guest joining us on the show today. A creative visionary that I've come to know, who is the author of a book that you can get. It's at Giant Panda King. I'm going to pull up the website later. The book is called Gotham 1919 to 1939. It is a coffee table hardcover book that is a vision of Batman as if Batman really existed in Prohibition era, early 1900s. It features photographs and articles about villains like the Joker, Two-Face. It features photos of Batman, and it's all you're seeing. We're going to bring up some pictures later. This book is it is like a lookbook for a Batman that if Warner Brothers was smart, they would do this. He has other upcoming books, including Metropolis, among others. Russell is also a filmmaker who has made films, and he's also the creator of a series. This is how I got to know Russell. He's the creator of a series of burlesque shows, including The Empire Strips Back, which I strongly recommend you look up. The Empire Strips Back, which is coming to Canada, I believe, next year. Joining us on the show today, Russell Beattie.
Hello.
Russell, how's it going, man? I wanted to really do a big build-up.
I know. I was like, who are you describing?
Yeah. I should have done it like a wrestling match,
Yeah, maybe.
There he is. But yeah, so first, And I'm going to bring up your website. And if you, in the private chat, you can send me links and I can show those links or anything you want.
Oh, okay. I did email some to you earlier, like about a half an hour ago.
Put it in the private chat. We'll bring it up. I'll look up the website first. But tell me first, like, you are the
Sorry, Chris, can I just introduce myself to Alan? Hello, Alan.
Hey.
Okay.
I know Chris, but I have never met Alan before, so I just want to introduce.
You tried to get me to your shows, and my wife has prevented that.
Every wife caves eventually. I make the shows mainly for women first. If they approve, then I know the guys are going to like it regardless. So, I've made it for a date-friendly thing. Sorry, Chris.
So tell me, like, first of all, what led to the creation of this book? And I'm told that you want to do a giveaway today. I don't know how we do the giveaway, but
I'll leave that up to you how to do the giveaway. You just tell me who you want me to send it to. But essentially what we did, I was in love with this period. Like, I've always loved Batman. And then when you research Batman and you find out what the references were, everyone knows, Conrad from the Man Who Laughed and things like that, as like key elements. And then where I went from there was, okay, what if like everyone looked like this kind of surrealism, silent film surrealism kind of period? And I thought, what if like Batman was made in the 20s and 30s as that kind of period? And the more I thought about it, the more I wanted to bring that to life. And I actually brought it to life first as a stage show, like a small little stage show called The Batman Follies of 1929. And the research of that was so fun, like, because I was just finding like real points of history where the characters could line up. And there was so much, because a lot of comics is taken from real history. And then trying to find characters what might not work, trying to make them work within a kind of cohesive narrative over a 20-year period. So like Batman starts in 1919 and finishes in 1939. And that kind of lines up with the end of World War I and the start of World War II. So it's that period in between where, the world kind of changed very dramatically over that 20-year period. And it's a history book that uses Batman as the context, essentially. And all that research, I don't know, it might have been an ego thing, but I just didn't want it to go to waste. So I kind of put it down into a book, and I spent a long time making this book. Like, I didn't do it in a 6-month period. I did over 10 years because I have a lot of other things I work on as well. But it's also, I wanted the characters to age as natural as they could through there. So you see Bruce Wayne start off in his 20s, late 20s, about 28, at the start of the book, and then I bring the gentleman back when he's almost 40. My Dick Grayson, it was, I think, 11 when I first shot with him, and then I shot with him when he was 21.
That's a commitment right there. That's insane. We're showing pictures from your website, Giant Panda King. I'll put the link in here's the link to your website, and we'll put the link in the description of this video. You can go to giantpandaking.com. It's remarkable, the book, because you've written this sort of alternative history, and it makes so much sense to have Batman have existed in like this Prohibition era 1920s with all these crazy villains coming up. It's a vision of Batman. I mean, they tried something different with The Batman with Robert Pattinson. It was, I like a lot of things about it, but what you did is just so above and beyond. And what I love about it too is when you talk to like Quentin Tarantino, you ask him what's your favorite era to make movies, set your movies in, and he says anything before cell phones. Like, technology has made these movies, like, it's created new challenges for screenwriters and made it like so social media exists in the world of Marvel, and it just, I don't know. I think there's this more innocent time is a better place to tell a story.
Totally. And like, you got to look at what Batman is and his characters. They're created in a very much more simpler time. And then it gets to a point where you have to, what was that comic where Batman re-enters from space after the Justice League Watchtower gets destroyed, and he uses his suit can withstand, coming in through the atmosphere and heating up, except for his face. So he rips off his underwear and puts over his face. And that's how a modern writer justifies having the underwear, is that when he needs to, he can use it as a bulletproof thing for his face or heat resistance. And it's just kind of getting ridiculous when you have to kind of invent things. Like, I'm not a big fan of putting in things on top of existing, structure. So if you have a character, or if you have, sorry, 1 second.
Sure.
I just need to put my phone on silent.
There you go.
Because it's linked to my iPad.
I'm showing some of your other books that your
the upcoming ones.
Books. Yeah, Themyscira, and there's also Metropolis. So, and the thing is this, I think what I did was I got the deluxe version. So when you sent me the book, I just ordered it. When I found you on Instagram. Okay. So
you bought one of the early copies, if I remember.
One of the early copies, which came with a Batarang and a poster of the Justice League. My mind was so blown. I thought, like, Warner Brothers should just hire you. James Gunn should just hire you. How is James Gunn not aware of this? And if you had any question for you, have you had any interaction from a legal standpoint or anything from DC or Warner Brothers?
For this project, no. For other projects, definitely. Like I do a lot of parody burlesque shows, and there is a beautiful gray area with a lot of the stuff you can work within. But you have to be legit. You have to make sure you spend the money on the lawyers. You have to make sure you do your research. You have to update it all the time. And there's certain things I do, but also the main thing is it has to be transformative. It can't be just something they could produce and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, I push the line on a lot of this stuff, but if they don't want me to make it, make better shit. So that's simple. The fans aren't getting what they deserve. Don't you think it's funny? We've had 60 years of Jokers, but we've never had a Joker accurate to the comics, live action.
True. True.
These are things. It's not hard to please the fans, but they're just not doing it. So until they tell me to stop, I'll keep doing it.
Did your lawyers have a major concern at one point, or were they pretty much like, yeah, you're doing it the right way?
Oh no, all lawyers have concerns. They just glad it's not.
What do you think was the most challenging concern?
So for example, it's always trademarks. It comes down to trademark mainly. Mm-hmm. So if you look at things like when I did a Game of Thrones burlesque show, I called it Game of Thrones burlesque at the start. That was my early period, and I got an email 2 days before my first show from the HBO. No, I got the email on the way to the first show because I was at a theater in Canberra. And as a, cease and desist, you can't use that. And I looked at it and then I realized, okay, they're mainly concerned about the trademark and it being confused that this is an official production. That was the main thing. So it's mainly the main thing you need to get across, that this is transformative. It is non-official production. There are a few things, I'm not going to give all my free legal advice away, that you have to do. But it's also one of those things that, like HBO, were cool with the changes I made. So I changed the name of the show to Dames of Throne. So it was an obvious kind of departure. And then I did a few things just, with the way I worded it, its description, the kind of way the images kind of looked. And then within 6 months, HBO were hiring me to put on their Game of Thrones launches in Australia for each season. I did the ones at the Opera House, at the State Theatre, because I was the only one with, like, at that time, with accurate, like, costumes, and characters. If you look at that show, like, that show is pretty freaking accurate as far as the costumes go. I've got like White Walkers and giants and everything in that show. Wow. Like my giant is 10 foot tall. It moves and walks and all that stuff. Wow.
Hey, the chat is on fire with questions for you, and we're going to do the giveaway.
Why I don't wear sleeves.
Well, the chat's on fire, so let's get to some of these questions. But secondly, we will be doing a giveaway at the end of the show, which will be close to the top of the hour. So let's go. 2 penny puppet for $4.99. Guys, I've seen Scarface a bunch of times on TV, but never on the big screen. I went to see it last Sunday, and the whole third act just blew me away. I saw it. This is unrelated to this, but I saw it when I was a kid, when it was first in theaters. So Solomon Thornton, and thank you for that, 2 penny puppet. Solomon Thornton asks, Sir Russell, what is your favorite Batman comic? Wow.
It's a big one. I suppose for me, it's always going to be something that kind of recontextualized Batman for me at the time. Probably The Dark Knight Returns is always going to be in there because it's like punk rock when it came on the scene. It just changed the industry. It wasn't just the comic, it was what the comic represented as a whole. But I'm a child of the 90s comics. So, like, realistically, I always love Born Again, the Robin Tim Drake introduction series. things like that, because I was of that age when I still found that stuff really magical, and kind of inspired. So I grew up on Tim Drake, Carl Ragnar, and whatnot. Like they were my kind of characters, what were introduced in the monthly issues at the time. So I've got a soft spot for early to mid 90s kind of comic runs, even though they were so ridiculous at the time.
Another question here from Brock Samsonite asks, so is your version of Batman like Rex Banner?
No, it's more like so. Okay, this is the way I came up with the characters. But for all the characters in the book, they have to have a real life counterpart. So for my Batman, I pulled from Howard Hughes. To me, he's the main inspiration for what you can do with money and ambition and a drive. But also, dressing up as a Batman, having this much commitment could be mental illness at the same time, which we often know with Howard Hughes struggles and whatnot. And I always saw Batman's ending, Bruce Wayne's ending, not nice. I always saw him kind of, being locked away in a hotel room, being tortured from the demons of his past. So that's kind of, if you go through the book and whatnot, you'll just see a lot of similarities to real life people in the book.
So it's Harley Quinn, Lucille Ball at that point.
She's more based on, Harley Quinn's interesting because I actually changed it a bit because I had her as the inspiration for that kind of little girl voice movement of Betty Boop, Helen Kane, was it? And all those characters at that point who, something that oopsie doop kind of thing, which, Harley draws a lot from, but I kind of put in that she was the basis for that because she became this kind of publicity machine for the press at that point because the press had a field day with her. She was loved by them. And she was very much based on, if you look at things like $1 Million Mermaid, how the press loved her. And also a big part is Bonnie and Clyde, for her and the Joker, but also the couple what the Badlands film's based on. I forget their name off the top of my head, but where she gets so kind of interrupted in this man's energy and power and charisma that she goes on this kind of spree. And I never saw her and the Joker being long lasting. I see that more of a crime spree that lasts 3 or 4 months and just terrorizes the country and the city, but I wanted a girl to play Harley who looks like the ultimate girlfriend and the worst ex-girlfriend at the same time.
There's so many questions here. I hope we can get through most of them.
I'll try not to talk as long.
Spidey Sensei 72 asks, is Gotham available to order on Amazon?
No, I'm kind of outside the system, unfortunately. That's why probably most people don't know who I am. I don't work for studios. I don't work for other companies. I just work for myself and do my things direct for public. So if you see one of my shows, I'm usually there. I'm not with Star Wars at the moment because that's kind of outgrown me a bit. It's got its own life and trajectory at the moment. But for me, I just sell my stuff through my website. Now, even that is going to be changing. I'll be shutting down my website next month. This will be my last pushing out of my
so this is the last time you'll be able to get the book.
For a while, yeah, because I'm not... especially online. I am going to I find online, everyone's used to Amazon culture, which is next day delivery. I'm one person who does all this. I run the website, I make this stuff, and it's my side thing. It's not even my main kind of creative outlet. Filmmaking and stage shows is what I mainly do. So it's very hard for me to maintain people's expectations, and I always warn them it might be late. I use printers in Korea, they travel. There's always something like COVID or delays in manufacturing or something will affect it, and people get really upset these days. So I'm kind of just doing one more run of it online, and I might bring it back, but it'll be limited engagement. So you join a mailing list, and then when I announce that I have it ready and available, you can buy it then. But I'll limit that to probably 1,000 each time kind of thing, because this for me is more like presenting artwork, like an art print, not mass consumption. It's people who aren't into Batman don't want to pay the price tag because that's how much it costs, unfortunately, when you're working at this level.
Here's some great comments. Let's see. All Twisted Up says, met Russell at LA Comicon after the Film Threat panel last year. Great job turning these franchises on their heads and giving them unique visions. So Spidey Sensei asks, 72 asks, what's your Instagram?
Giant Panda King. That's it. I don't have any other social media. I have one other account that has my face on it. I just use that for researching people. That sounds dodgy than I meant to say.
So look up Giant Panda King. Fletcher Williams says, when the parody is better than the original, the studios, corporations don't care about the fans and the IP. So there you go. And then Alan Horkin asks, can you elaborate on your career path? Who inspired you? Are you a writer or something else?
It's a hard question because I'm more inspired by the early days of cinema. So your Buster Keatons, your Charlie Chaplins, your Lon Chaney's, those kind of guys. For me, he kind of did everything. So even today, there's Beat Takakashi in Japan, who's still one of my biggest inspirations, and those kind of artists who don't let someone wait to get permission. Don't wait for money. Don't wait for anything. They just want to create, and they're the people I respect. And for me, it's hard to kind of pinpoint what I do because it's just, honestly, guys, it's not me bragging or flexing. I honestly think it's linked to some form of mental illness, but I kind of have to be involved in every process or at least understand it. So a lot of the time, I'm my own production designer, costume designer, props designer, writer, director, producer, casting. I drive the trucks. I do catering. I do what's needed. And that's pretty much it. I don't want to sound off as, big talk or anything. It's just what you have to do to work at this level and have the freedom and the creativity. Because most of the industry is ruled by fear, and that's what you've got to realize. And the fact that they didn't care about fans, they never have, guys. They care about money. And we live in a period where authenticity is very much lacking in the content we get produced. And I think that's about to shift because everyone's shown at the box office that no one wants this shit, and they want real stories, real people, real stunts, things that we connect to, because it's I suppose it's like going to see a magic show. We know it's fake, or wrestling for that matter. We know it's not real, but there's a relationship between the provider, the content provider, and the consumer. And we're going to let you do your thing. If we figure it out, you'll fail. But if you trick us, we're going to be engaged, and we're going to keep that. And that trust was there with cinema for a long time. But then somewhere when the corporations took it over in the 80s and 90s, and when it just became about money, then we lost that along the way. That magic and that relationship,
Flav for 10 pounds. Evening, guys. Hope you're all well. Quick question for Russell. I'm on the order page. If I request a signature in the additional instructions, any chance of that happening? I'm buying the book regardless. So signature required.
I forget, I know. I have to get a bunch sent to me to sign then. Do it. I'm coming over to LA because that's all my books are in LA at the moment. I'm in Sydney, Australia.
I'm nice.
Coming over to LA. I'm coming over to LA shortly because I'm working on a new show to open early next year. So I'll make sure those signed ones will be available.
Awesome.
If not, just get me on IG and I'll make sure it happens.
Awesome. So Brock Samsonite asked, so is it an art book or a character study? Is there a story along with all those fresh looking images?
So it's a history book essentially. So it shapes it like a documentary. So it talks about what would have happened. It has artifacts in there. It has, you can see the images on the screen. We have breakdowns. It's we say it's being put together by Renee Montoya. I think that's still the case in that one.
And let's see. The questions are just questions and comments. People are really into this. Rodney McKay says Cary Grant as Bruce and David Niven as Alfred. It would have been good.
Possibly.
Yeah. Iceman says that period really suits the whole Maroni, Falcone, Mafia versus Batman storyline. But how would you thread in the technology for Batman and his suit?
Well, that's the best thing about that period. Well, that was probably the biggest jump in technology during the 2 world wars we ever had. So there was all these experimental things, and a lot of the stuff in there, I use real things, have modified them, but they're from real sources, a lot of it. So I got a painting book from the 30s, and it was all the different types of designs for the things we use now. So all these things got invented, but only a few of them got selected, to carry on through. And then you add in a little bit of, magic to kind of spice up the story to justify it, but it's meant to be based on all real things, unlike steampunk, where it's just kind of fantasy with engineering aesthetics. I try to start with this as engineering first before the aesthetics, and if it could work, and in theory, then would follow through with it.
Cool. Alan, did you see my note in the private chat?
Yes, I thought you had just left, and so okay, I'll take over.
All right, no, I got it.
Okay.
If pre-ordered, will they be out by Christmas 2023?
We have them available now, so if you order them now, they'll be delivered the next day.
Says Sean Hu. And Brock Samsonite asked, do you have anything film-wise coming out we can check out soon?
Yeah, so there's two things what I could probably talk about. So I'll be starting I've got a feature film which I'm wrapping up, and we're applying for festivals in February. So they'll be, if they get selected, they'll be at festivals around mid-year, but we hope to have it released to the public by the end of the year. And that's called Ugly Carter. It's a mixed hybrid film, which I made kind of during COVID because I was bored, and that doesn't make it sound cheap though. We've actually spent a lot of time and effort to make it look like it's got a studio behind it, and that will be coming out. And that's an experiment. That's my experiment of trying to invent a new kind of independent style film, which again sounds very ambitious, but it's what my intentions were. And the other thing I've got coming, starting in early next year, is a new YouTube channel called Fuck the Algorithm, PHUC. And basically it's making content what the algorithm doesn't want you to make. I will be putting on Hollywood on blast as far as what they've made, and I'll be deconstructing it. So there'll be these 10-minute documentaries. I'm only doing 6 of them, but they'll be all based on unique things. The first one is the Book of Boba Fett. And basically, I ripped that apart. I ripped that down. It does have a scene with me putting dildos on each executive of Disney on their heads. It's very much inspired by, I'm very much, I'm very much a provocateur and like challenging things what I don't think are right. And I don't think this stuff's right. What they're doing to this stuff. They're just saying, like, every time we give them money, they just put their hand back out and want more. But then at that one point, we were like happy to do it, but now they just don't give a shit, So we're going to deconstruct that. I'm going to do things that I know, and I'm not going to just, talk about what's wrong with Hollywood. I've actually gone and already shot a $20,000 Book of Boba Fett trailer if I did it.
Wow.
So you'll see how I've kind of what I did with Gotham, I'm doing with the Book of Boba Fett, and then I'll be continuing that with one called The Pale Smile. We're doing one on Tank Girl. We're going to be doing one on the original Mad Max. We'll be doing one on Akira. And the final one, what we'll end it with, will be a secret, but we'll announce that once we start doing it. But they're going to be 6 films in total, like the 10 minutes each, and then I'll probably close the channel down after that, because It's all about, for me, you can't sustain things. You shouldn't sustain things. It's not healthy to sustain your love for something till it turns toxic. They should give us stuff and move on. If I was in Marvel's situation at the moment, close down Marvel, kill it, and start X-Men. Everyone's been a break now. Do a new X-Men thing separated from Marvel. Just do a whole new X-Men universe. That's what people want. Do it grounded. Do it like, how they did The Fury, The Shining, Firestarter. Those films in the 70s what had great mutant powers. Stranger Things prove that there's an audience for that still. But do a contemporary version of it. And then when the time is right, when everyone's sick of X-Men, reinvent the Marvel universe. Like you do in comics. Just stay away from the multiverse. It never works in comics. Everyone thinks it's a lame idea.
We have a lot of questions, but unfortunately we have to wrap up the show.
Sorry, I keep talking too much.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But a question here from Rumble, Adelis24 says, what is your take on the YouTube channels that make videos on your Gotham material?
Oh, I'm all for it. Like, this book is meant to be about people filling in the gaps of the story. That's the interactive element for it, is that I give you enough information that these people exist, these informations happen, but as a reader, you're meant to fill in the gaps. So any of the YouTube videos, there people bought the book off me. Batfeed is probably the biggest. He's got, I think, about 50,000 followers and like over 1 million views on one of the videos. He contacted me originally, and he's been one of the big things that helped get the book known to people. So the book's full of fans, and it's treated like, Dungeons and Dragons, and that's the manual. Take it with you want. It's meant for you to find out more about Batman and more about history and see where they kind of co-align. If I can get people into history and, you know, good Batman stories, and, you know, they just have to fill in the gaps, and that's what makes it more fun. You know, where we come from a period where we like to be challenged, we like to hunt things, we like to have these experiences, but yet everything we've made is just so convenient these days that we're not really engaging that part of our brain. You know, the only time we get that brain engaged is when we're on TikTok trying to find a new video, what's going to engage it even more than what, you know, the previous one did.
Here's some comments here. I'm just going to read these comments. CD Stein 69 says a Prohibition era Batman comic or movie would be phenomenal. Gotham by Gaslight is one of my favorite series of the alternate Batman universe. And from Rumble, $8.24 says the easiest way to tell it is unauthorized DC content is it superior to actual DC content. And then All Twisted Up says, please re-release Wikipedia's. I think he means Wikierotica.
Yeah, I will. It's just at the moment, I just don't have time to manage all that, or resources. Yeah, I'm wrapping up a feature film. I've got a new book coming out early next year based on Ghostbusters. You would have seen earlier. I might as well announce this now. This is the first time I think I'm announcing it publicly, Chris. Big exclusive. In March, I'll be doing my Gotham Follies of 1939 stage show.
Oh.
So this is not the actual characters from the book. It's like a review format show, what they used to do back in the 30s and 40s. Well, for about 150 years.
Like vaudeville, like a vaudeville show.
Yeah, vaudeville was one of the subcategories of the review format. You had like 4 subcategories. And that was like, you know, the Ziegfeld Follies, vaudeville, burlesque, even minstrels were considered a part of the review format.
Vaudeville. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Sorry to interrupt you, but vaudeville is where different versions of Alan and I would react to trailers live in front of an audience. It was vaudeville was the early YouTube. Okay, that is the dumbest comment I will make today. But I'm
pretty much. To put it in context, if you look at something like they didn't know how to present contemporary news and that format,
right.
So, you know, satirical things. So if you look at something like in King Kong, the first thing they do with King Kong when they bring him to the city is put him on a Broadway stage, because that's how they made money out of current affairs. John Oliver would be on a Broadway stage. You know, that's the kind of thing. John Stewart. So, but they used to have to get people in the door. You couldn't just present newsreels. So they had burlesque acts, they had jugglers, circus performers, and they'll theme them. So this is basically the character performers in the 1930s or early 40s, probably, doing a stage show based on the book. So it's very conceptual. I'm going to be trying to turn the theater into like modern history museum based on the real things what happened. But then you go in and see the stage show. We're trying to put on the Iceberg Lounge up on the roof of the theater. You know, so I'm trying to make it into a thing. You know, it's pretty epic.
When you come to town, you're gonna look me up, right? You're gonna let me know so we can hang out.
Hey, man, I always have time for you, Craig.
Okay, good. Okay, we'll get together and get done. I have a super.
Chris, you didn't hear my joke, but that's okay.
Sorry. I drink. I drink, therefore I am for 1999 says, I agree that once a genre has reached its climax, it should be ceased and a new genre explored, which is why noir needs to come back. Unfortunately, there is no Alan Ladd or Veronica Lake, nor will there ever be. So we're going to wrap it up with that final comment.
I think you said that there'll be issues available or copies available in LA. How would I be able to pick that up?
So I don't know if they have them in store, but you can probably just go and ask them. So my store I align with in LA is Secret Headquarters. Okay. They also ship out my book as well. But Alan, just get Chris to email me. I'll sort you out.
Okay. And now it's time to do our giveaway. Here's what we're gonna do. What we're gonna do in the chat, I'm gonna ask you a question. It is a trivia question related to Batman. And I'm just gonna the first person to answer this question correctly will win. And then all you do is you contact me. You can go to filmthreat.com/contact me, say I am the winner. This is my name and address, and I'll send the address to Russell. So we're giving away one book, is that right?
I'll give you 2. I'll give 2 out.
Give you 2. Okay. The first 2 people to get this correct. I'm looking for a number. The first appearance of Batman in Detective Comics, what number issue is it?
I think I know, but
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
I know. Oh, I already know what the answer is. And there it is. Really old movies. Not got it. And so did Mr. Conrad C83. The two of you, please reach out to me. Go to filmthreat.com/contact. Send me your addresses. I will send them to Russell, who will send you two. You'll each get a copy of the book. So there you go. Yeah, it was issue 27 of Detective Comics. One thing, I was talking to Gary Beekler and I asked him, what was on the cover of Detective Comics number 26? You know what I mean? Like we know that like Amazing Fantasy number 15 is the first appearance of Spider-Man. What was on the cover of Amazing Fantasy number 14? Like nobody knows. Like I'm like, oh, what was on the cover of that? Because it's probably not worth very much, but it was the issue before Spider-Man or the issue before Batman made his first appearance. I don't know, food for thought, something to talk about on a comic stream. But we got to wrap it up. I got to get to a screening of a movie. Alan has to as well. Russell, great having you on the show. I cannot wait for this new show that you're doing. I will be buying tickets. I can't wait to see it. And look me up when you get to LA. You've got my number. You got everything. And I've been screaming about this book before I even knew you. I bought extra copies and I sent one to Gary from Nerdrotic. I said, you need to look at this. This is important. And I did videos on this years ago where I just showed it. I just showed your book. So
now I remember
because personally. So
yeah, I think we connected when you came and did an interview when I was over there on tour, and you didn't realize I was the same. Yeah, you didn't realize I was the same person.
And my mind was blown because the Empire Strips Back. I didn't realize you're the guy who did that book, and then I couldn't. It was great, but yeah, I had you on an episode of my podcast. So when it was just audio. So hey, thank you, Russell. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
When you get to Los Angeles, and I'll get you those winners' addresses. Thanks again.
Great.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time.
Later.
Bye.
And that is going to wrap it up for us today. I want to thank Ms. P. Coffee. Want to thank her for doing a stellar job. Want to thank all of you for your great questions. Also want to thank our mods, Lord Thoth. Latino Slant was not here today. Just our mod singular, Lord Thoth. Thank you. And Lord Thoth has some good questions and comments today. That wraps it up for us. We will be back on Friday. It's just going to be a review day on Friday. If there's any Marvel's news or Alan and I get canceled, I'll let you know.
Wish is coming. So.
Oh, I forgot about Wish. Oh my God. That's our main review on Friday is going to be Wish, the Disney movie. And then we're also going to be talking about Hunger Games prequel, a lot of little indie movies. We'll do quick, short reviews. We're going to go rapid fire. Friday is going to be on fire. And we have an interview with the director of a new film called Do Not Disturb, which don't watch the trailer for it. I didn't watch the trailer and I watched this movie and was shocked. I'm very glad that I didn't watch the trailer for the film, but just want to thank you. Our channel continues to grow. I think that shows people really like what we're doing, and we're, closing in on 100,000, and that's all due to you and your dedication. And I appreciate it. So I think I'll be back on the Nooner next week as well. And we're just back to our normal schedule. And we are going to be doing a show the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Might be a shorter show. We're going to be doing a show on that Friday. The holiday shows may be shorter, but we're not going anywhere. Right, Alan?
Yeah. It's a weird statement, but yeah.
What do you mean it's a weird statement?
I mean, if we're doing the show, it's just going to be shorter. It doesn't mean we're going to be somewhere. Okay. Hey, by the way, I posted my new YouTube channel, Ng the Merciless, and I think we've been talking about it, but this could be the official Film Threat gaming channel.
Well, the official Film Threat gaming channel is going to be Film Threat, but it'll be the unofficial. So
at the moment, the unofficial.
We could stream from Film Threat and Ng the Merciless.
Yeah. We'll
whatever. But we haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out a game that we could play.
Oh, I already know what I want to play. EDF, Earth
Okay.
Defense Force.
I'll.
We have to pick the version.
Well, I have
So-
5. That's what I have right now.
Well, there you go. And
All right.
by the way, Alan, next week you got to work on your decorations. Look at this.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're like I said, I got some stuff from Temu, and so we're gonna deck this out for Thanksgiving.
All right, we're gonna vote. We'll do a poll. Who has the better decorated little space? So there you go. And we will see you Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. Alan, anything you got coming up? I'm seeing a bunch of movies between now and then.
Yeah, I'm seeing Color Purple tomorrow.
I'm seeing Wonka. I have to I gotta leave in like 20 minutes. I gotta get to the middle of the city because one of our freeways is shut down in Los Angeles. Oh my God, it's horrible.
Love the home.
Oh, and a quick reminder to get your tickets for Award This. Get your tickets.
Oh, hey. Oscars, huh? Oscars can suck it! I don't even have a penis. Watch Award This at awardthis.com.
That's right. Tickets are on sale now. It's the only award show you can get a ticket to. It's Award This. Alan and I will be there. Lots of indie filmmakers. It's going to be a lot of fun. Join us for this party. And you can get a 20% discount on tickets. Go to awardthis.com. The link is there. Use the discount code FilmThreat20 to save 20% on tickets. That's it for us today. Alan, anything else?
Nope.
Yeah, there's a Rumble rant. There's a Rumble rant for Russell. Did we not get to it?
We did not get to it.
We're going to get to it right now. What villain that isn't in your books do you want to include? I'm going to pass that on to Russell. Caveat.
Mr. Mixelplick apply?
Email me. Yeah, probably. Well, that's a Superman.
That's Superman. Yeah.
Mr. Mixelplix. So we're never going to get that. But caveat ties support. Caveat ties. Email me, go to filmthreat.com/contact, email me, and I will send the question to Russell and your email so you can get that question answered. We care about our viewers. Alan, are you going to a movie tonight or what are you doing?
I'm not.
I'm seeing 2 movies tonight.
Yeah. I'm watching a couple movies at home.
I'm seeing Wonka and Next Goal Wins, and I'll tell you about it on our next show. All right.
Let's get out of here.